This is Focus on Your Health. It's brought to you by Kingman Regional Medical Center in historic Kingman, Arizona. I'm TG LaFredo, and this week I'm coming to you from Kingman Pulmonary Associates. But I'm not here to talk about lungs. My guest this week is Lisa Land. She is a nurse practitioner. Hey, Lisa, welcome.
Hi.
Well, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm so goofy about this interview, honestly. I love to visit with the different providers and, the people in the community and talk about medicine and talk about health. This week, we're talking about a different branch of that. We're talking about your crazy exploits as an endurance athlete. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead. Yeah.
Well, we're still embarking on health. The whole project for this was started to empower women and to focus on getting specifically women, but anyone out there, to motivate them, get them out there.
Absolutely. But there are easier ways to motivate a person than what you're about to do. In a few days, you will travel to Cape Town, South Africa to compete in the Cape Epic mountain bike race. You will, you'll ride from Table Mountain to Val-de-Vie Estate in a 7-stage race covering 658 kilometers or just about 409 miles. And I have so many questions about this. I was watching a trailer on YouTube for this race. You saw it, I'm sure.
Yes.
And my first question is, what are you thinking? What this is to convey this for radio. This is an incredible. Watching this trailer, there are these 1,300 cyclists, and they're crashing and they're crying.
So you saw what you were depicting is the 2018 route release, the video they created to release the route for 2018.
There you go. Right.
The course changes every year, so the distance is never the same, the elevation is never the same. So they change it every year, and that was the release video for 2018. And of course you have some of probably the more gnarly parts of the race. In a race that long, and it's actually 8 stages.
8 stages. Mm-hmm. Okay. Forgive me.
We have 7 stages,
but then there's a prologue.
The prologue.
Yeah. Okay.
So that
7 different.
The prologue day sets us up for how we're going to start on stage 1.
Okay.
So basically, it started originally, if you want me to go ahead and
I want to know all about it. I've got so many questions.
The project itself by Liv. Liv is the women's division of Giant Bicycles, which Giant Bicycles is one of the largest mountain bike companies globally. Mm-hmm. So, they distribute all around the world. But they wanted to create a division specifically for women. And when they mean by that, they wanted to create bikes specifically for women, clothing specifically for women. Anything you can think of, women specific.
They sensed a void in the marketplace.
Yes, and there was actually. I started mountain biking 5 years ago, and I raced then actually, and I just know when I would come to the starting line for a race, you kind of had a handful of women, maybe 2, 3, it wasn't very big. And over the course of 5 years, that's grown exponentially. There's a lot of mountain bike companies now that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon to create a market for women. It was very men specific, so a lot of things were built and made for men, and as women can be anatomically different, so our needs are different.
So when you were riding those bikes 5 years ago, did it sort of feel like you were wearing your brother's pants or something like that?
Well, now that you see me, I'm pretty small. Petite. On a good day I average about 5 foot.
when you've slept well.
When I've slept well, 5 foot. Sometimes when I get measured, it's 4'11", and I'm like, no, you need to redo that. Yeah. So for me, it was really hard to find a bike that fit me. And that was a lot of the problems that I had when I first got into mountain biking. I had, a small frame bike. It was a little too big for me. And my first Liv bike, which was, their first embellishment of a women's specific bike, fit me perfectly. The standover heights, I could stand over and not have to worry about hitting my girly parts per se. But I just felt...
By the way, this is the first time in about 5 years of doing the show that anyone has mentioned girly parts. So thank you. You just made the best of 2018 edition.
Oh, I'm glad I could see that. It's important in mountain biking or riding, period.
Yeah, if you're going on a short ride, it's important. But if you're logging these miles, you have to be comfortable.
Absolutely.
Or at least mitigate the discomfort of all that time in the saddle, right?
Oh, yeah. That is a fine-tuning process as well.
Right.
But just, back to the bike fit, I finally felt comfortable, and when you have a bike that fits you well, you ride better, you're more efficient on the bike, and it's just more fun.
How did you become a competitive cyclist? Were you an athlete in high school and college all along? Yeah.
Yes, I've been an athlete pretty much my whole life. I mean, through high school, my biggest sport in high school was actually softball.
Okay.
I also ran track, basketball, tennis, anything pretty much my high school offered, I gave it a try. But my most favorite sports were basically softball and basketball. I wasn't very good at basketball, but I did enjoy the sport. And then when I went to college, I went to the University of Tulsa in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and believe it or not, I was actually on the crew team there, rowing.
Yeah.
If no one's familiar with crew, but
sure, yeah.
I was on the rowing team, and that helped me get through college, and so I kind of always had that base of fitness. And so being a college athlete, I was really taught about nutrition and training, and we didn't get spring break. We trained during spring break. Our Christmas breaks were always cut short, so I really didn't have that college experience, but it wasn't anything that I missed. I mean, I had such a great college experience and learned so many different things, not just getting my education, but about what I wanted to do as an athlete. And when I graduated, I continued to run for fitness, which led me to, maybe I should try a triathlon. Some of my friends got into triathlons. And so I did that for a few years. And then when I started my career as a nurse and traveling, it was really just hard to continue with that type of training with the constant traveling.
Yeah. I mean, it's like having another job, right? When you're training for a serious endurance race like that. My sister is one of these crazy people. She's run a bunch of Ironman races.
Yes.
She did the Lake Placid, the
that's
full
amazing.
Ironman.
Yeah. So she would know all about the time and commitment that it takes.
Yeah. And I mean,
especially for multi-sport. Yes.
And also her husband, was like a triathlon widower. Would that be the right term for it? Like, I mean, because she had to train like mad to keep up, and he had to show up on the side of the road with bottles of Gatorade and stuff like that. You know all about this stuff.
Yes.
Let's just say, humility aside, you must have been good at these sports because you were in college participating in crew and all. I mean, you must have been good at them, right?
Well, I've always had been a decent runner. My weakest sport actually was swimming. I'm a terrible swimmer. That's something that mostly because I don't like water, as odd as that seems. It was one of my sports I just could not find myself to train consistently at because I didn't like water. Yeah. But the biking and the running were two of my favorite things. So I always knew I could make up for time on those two events.
Okay.
And then, I just kind of... I was a roadie, as you would say.
Right.
So my mountain biking passion came when I came to Arizona.
It's really a different creature altogether.
It is a different, right? It's completely different creature. It's actually more fun. I would say I'm a true convert from road biking to mountain biking. Yeah. In fact, I would prefer to ride mountain any day or dirt any day.
What is the magic about the dirt?
It's something about, I can understand being on the road, you can zone out, but a lot of times when you're road biking, you're having to stop at traffic lights. You're having to look out for traffic or, other individuals or whoever you may be on the road. I mean, your resources are limited as far as like road riding because you have highways, sidewalks, but on the mountain or on dirt, you can take a trail, you can ride berms, you can kind of not even zone out really because you have to watch the trail. You have to read the trail. And it's just something about it that's very relaxing. It's just more fun, I feel. More fun and exciting.
Now, watching the release video for the race you were about to take on, there wasn't much relaxing about that particular
I think that video was terrible because...
Is it made to strike fear in the hearts?
I think it is. It's the funny thing is my friends who saw that video, I had tons of messages and phone calls telling me, Lisa, there are grown men crying in this video. Right, and I said, yes, I know that. Yeah. But the good news is, the Liv, my rep for Liv, she sent us all an email for the team to say, the video is terrible. You girls can do it. Just to kind of motivate us.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Well, there's not a lot of women that do that race.
Yeah.
And that's another big reason why when Liv wanted to do this project, they chose the Cape Epic, because the Cape Epic organizers were thrilled to have more women.
Tell me a little bit about how you struck this relationship with Liv then.
Well, so Liv had this global application, or this global social media contest, shall you say. I've always rode Giant, or Liv for that matter. I raced with the Giant mountain bike team when I first started racing, and had my first bike, my Liv bike, and fell in love with it. So I've always loved the company, loved the women's division, the Liv division. I just appreciated their concept altogether. So they had this massive social media contest, and I know some friends had emailed me and said, "Hey, Lisa, you should apply for this." And I had a Liv rep, message me and say, "Hey, you should apply for this." And so my thought process was, well, why not? What can they tell me? No. And at the time, they just basically made it very general, apply, for an epic adventure kind of thing. You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, right.
And
maybe for the best.
Yeah. So, we all had to fill out the application process. And the biggest thing is you had to create a video of why you thought you would make a good member of this team. And the team, it's called the Liv Trail Squad. So they chose 6 women globally, all over. It was a global applicant. There was close to 1,000 applicants. So they chose, based off these applications, 6 women to make this Liv Trail Squad team. So I was the USA rep chosen for this team. I found out the week before my birthday, so it was the best birthday present ever.
Sure, yeah.
But the team itself consists of, we have women from the UK, Spain, Mexico, France, Australia, and Arizona.
Now, you're exceptional in that you're great athletes and you're taking on this crazy challenge. But in a way, you're everyday women because you have real jobs. You're
Yes.
not, right?
We are not pro racers. We've trained really, really hard the last 8 months to finding out that we got accepted for the team. We found out when we got accepted what race we were doing. No one knew what race we were doing at the time, and the goal of the project was to create a cross country team of just regular women.
Yeah.
So we're not pro riders. We probably feel like we've been training like that for the last 8 months, but we are just regular women. We have my partner, Kate Ross, is from Australia. She's an accountant for the government.
And have you met her in person yet?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not met her, but we have been, we call it online dating. We've been online dating for the last 8 months. I feel like she is my sister kind of right now because, I feel like we've been able to fully get to know each other over these last 8 months. And I think they've done a great job pairing us. Her and I have the same type of personality, especially when it comes to racing. We're kind of just dirty and gritty. We don't care about those kinds of things. And
I saw a lovely picture of you with mud in your teeth.
Racing is dirty, and that's the kind of concept. She has that same perception as well, and I can appreciate that.
It's time for a quick break on Focus on Your Health. We'll be back in a moment for more with Lisa Land. Stick around. Support for the Arizona Community Radio Network is provided by Kingman Regional Medical Center. KRMC welcomes Renee Golden, nurse practitioner at Joshua Tree Pediatrics. Renee is a former emergency room nurse and flight nurse, and she's now accepting patients. To schedule an appointment, call 681-8706. KRMC. And welcome back to Focus on Your Health. I'm TG LaFredo, and this week my guest is Lisa Land. She is a nurse practitioner at Kingman Pulmonary Associates, and she's also an endurance athlete. She's about to travel to Cape Town, South Africa, to take part in the Absa Cape Epic mountain bike race. I want to turn our attention to this race in particular, the Cape Epic ride. You have a riding partner. How does that work? You guys have to stay together the whole time?
We do. So with the Cape Epic, it's a team race. So our Live Trail Squad is 6 women. Of that 6 women, there's 3 teams. So of 2. Teams of 2.
Yep.
So you have to stay within 2 minutes either behind or ahead your partner. You can't be any further away than 2 minutes.
On this release video that I keep going on and on about, I saw a couple of clips where there was someone riding a bike and holding a bike, riding with it, an empty bike. Mm-hmm. What's going on there? What's that?
So either their partner was trying to recover from a fall, or they're walking up a hill, and physically his partner can't push the bike, so he's trying to help get his bike up.
All right, so this is what I'm thinking, because you did some triathlons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are all solo sports.
Yes.
And running a marathon, or you ran a 50 miler, I know, right? That's a solo activity.
Yes.
Is this hard? Because when I think, I did some running. I didn't do what you did, but I did some running. And when I think about, if I had to do that with a partner, I'd feel like I'm dragging weight with me. Is it hard to change the mindset?
Well, that's a great question. And, that's one of the things that Kate and I have talked about in our emails when
You've been asking, will you be able to keep up with me?
Well, no. I think because her and I follow each other in our training on Strava and different other platforms that we use for training. And I think we're pretty well matched. And in an 8-day race like that, covering so many miles, I don't think it's a matter of who's going to be faster or slower. I think it's going to, every day is going to change. One day I could be slower, one day she could be slower. It's going to be a matter of how are we going to encourage each other and motivate each other on those days when that person's the slowest. Because at the end of the race, that you can train and train and train, and it's still going to hurt to finish. So it comes down to the mind over matter type of mindset. So I know she might be stronger in the beginning, I might be strong in the beginning, but we have a game plan. And either way, we can't leave each other. So me trying to outpace her trying to outpace me, it would just set us up for failure.
If someone gets injured and can't continue, then are both riders out?
No, you're considered you're not considered a do not finish, but you're not considered a team finish. Yeah. So you can still finish the Cape Epic, but you're not considered an official finisher if your teammate doesn't finish with you.
It makes it challenging, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, it's hard enough, right? And I can see that there would be times where having a partner could help, but I wonder if that could also, I don't know. It's challenging.
It's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
It definitely adds to the dynamics of the race itself. I've had a contact in Las Vegas who just did the race last year, and his partner got sick the day before the last stage, and so they had done so well, and his partner didn't make it to the last stage. So I mean, he was able to finish, but he just said, during that stage, his partner got so sick that he had to basically push his partner up certain sections, and and it was a long, grueling day for them, but I think that, that's one of those things where you have to make sure that your partner is taking just as care of their body and their recovery time as you are.
So you and your partner are going to cover 409 miles or thereabouts. What has gone into your training as you've prepared for this? So
we average anywhere from 12 to 20 hours a week of training. For my schedule, because I know her schedule is different, but for my schedule, because I do drive back and forth from Lake Havasu, it cuts out 2 hours of your day, and you could do so much with those 2 hours. But
did you consider riding to work?
I've thought about it. If it didn't take me so dang long, I have thought about it. But we've put anywhere from 12 to 20 hours in the week, and her and I consistently put anywhere from 160 to 200 miles a week. That's what we have time for. We try to use every little bit of our time to the max benefit for training. So, for example, my schedule, I had one rest day a week, an optional rest day. I usually took it because I was pretty toast from the weekend. So Monday through Fridays, I would have about 2 to 3 more higher intensity rides, and then 2, more a little bit easier rides. And then on Saturday and Sunday were my really long rides. I would spend anywhere from 6 to 8 hours in the saddle. I did 2 12-hour races over the course of training, which were over 100-mile days. But it was just a necessary evil kind of thing. But they were great races, actually. I learned a lot about my nutrition, about my mental capacity, and just some of the things that I could focus on for 12 hours of riding. It was a great experience. But the weekends are usually where I get my long rides in. So Mondays are one of those days where I can either decide to recover or do another ride.
Right. When you're preparing for 100 kilometers on the bike in a given day, what do you do? What does the nutrition plan look like for that?
So that would probably be like a Saturday ride for me. So Fridays, usually I would come home from work, get all my stuff and gear together, because I'd always try to start. You want to start early. Otherwise, you're riding. I mean, you still want to have somewhat of a life when you're training like this, and, at least be able to relax with your husband, or, spend some time with friends in the evening. So I would prepare, get my hydration pack together. I'd always have a hydration liquid. So I'd always have water and a hydration liquid. So I used Scratch Hydration, which gives me pretty good electrolytes every 16 ounces. So I'd go through those at least every 1 to 2 hours. My go-to food on the bike are dates. I love dates. You can get up to 20 to 40 grams of carbs for 2 to 4 dates. And they're just a little bit easier for me to eat. I have to have real food to some extent on the bike. And then the longer I'm in, 4 hours on, I stick to GU, Roctane.
Right.
And I usually go through, a few packets of those on a 60 or 100 kilometer ride. But other than that, that's about it.
Yeah. Are you starving when you get off the bike?
No.
No.
I'm usually not.
Yeah.
I usually have trouble eating, actually.
But you have to kind of force yourself to, right?
Yeah, I do. So afterwards, I usually have a protein shake of some sort, whether I want it or not.
That sounds exciting.
I know.
I know a lot of people would be diving for a double cheeseburger or something like that.
But if you're starving when you get off the bike, then you were in a deficit.
You didn't manage it well.
Yeah, you were in a deficit for too long. So you should, if you're completely ravished by the time you get off that, you weren't hydrating or putting nutrition in as often as you should.
Yeah, I got it. Can you talk a little bit about gear, about what you have to carry? Because the trail is brutal. Flat tires are a given.
Right.
You're going to have technical troubles out there, so you have to be your own mechanics, right?
Yes,
okay.
At least till you finish the stage.
Right.
So for my bike itself, I'll have spare tube, obviously, CO2 cartridges, tire levers to change flat tire, duct tape. And that was actually one of the things they recommended.
Duct tape holds the world together.
It does. And I've seen some of those racers utilize duct tape to an extent that I never thought was possible.
Ways,
yes. Yeah. Zip ties, a tire pump, portable tire pump, spare chain links.
Are you a pretty good mechanic when you have to be, like in a pinch?
I've come a long ways in 8 months. Yeah. Tire changing is one of those things, I was never really good at, but you've got to at least be efficient.
So after you finish the stage, does your team have people there who will do general maintenance?
We do. We will have a mechanical crew there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It is. It's great.
You feel like a rock star.
I never imagined myself to be in this position. Starting mountain biking 5 years ago, I did not think that this is where I'd be.
Well,
right now.
and I don't want to jump, because you have to stay focused on this, but at some point I'm going to have to talk to you and say, what do you do now? Because this is huge, right? So you have
It's pretty exciting. Yeah. It's quite an adventure. I still honestly can't believe I'm really in this position. I think once I get there and I get that first stage or that prolong under my belt, it'll really hit me as far as like, wow, you're here, you're doing this. But up until now, it's all been such a crazy adventure, and I'm just, trying to take it all in, and I'm so humbled by all the support and, the encouraging words from, family and friends and patients and, fellow coworkers. And, I still, it's so humbling. It's such a humbling experience for me.
Yeah, I know. And as I said, the running I did was nothing like what you're about to undertake. But I know just before I was about to run a marathon, like the day before a marathon, especially the morning starts were the worst. Because I don't sleep at night anyway. I'm kind of a nocturnal person, right? And so there I am at 11 p.m. pretending that I can sleep. And I'm like totally anxious. And I'm feeling like if I could start right now, I'd just go run. Because
Right.
I can't sleep anyway, and I'm ready, and I'm pumped up, and I'm ready, And I know that you're tapering now. The race is getting near.
Yes.
How do you? I'm thinking about the totality of the thing, right? Because you said you did these 12-hour rides, and it was a good test of your kind of mental health and ability to focus on this. How are you feeling now about a week out?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I am pretty anxious. I'm more anxious just to get the traveling done and the jet lag over with so I can refocus. So I've kind of just broken up this taper week and next week into just periods of, I know I'm trying to refocus myself. So this week is, get through this last bit of work, finish up my work week and then refocus on what I need to do to make sure I don't forget anything, and then refocus on, saying my goodbyes to everyone and making sure that I recover, sleep, get the right nutrition. I mean, those are the things. I'm just trying to focus on the things that I can focus on and not worry about the things that I cannot. And the most important thing right now is just making sure that I'm recovering well and tapering well and getting the right nutrition and that I don't get sick.
Yeah. I'm so excited for you. Honestly, this
thank
is
you.
fantastic. We're out of time. It went so fast. I want to know more. I have so many more questions. Will you check in with us? Will you let us know how it goes? Will you keep
Absolutely.
us posted?
I mean, there's if you go onto the Cape Epic website, you can look at if you put in our bib numbers, you can follow us
Do you
through
have
the
your
live
numbers?
feed. Yes. So my bib number is 493-1.
493-1
Yes.
to follow Lisa Land on
Yes.
this crazy adventure.
Yes. Then you can do a live feed and then follow the race every day. And then they also will be having it nationally televised on Outside TV.
That is Lisa Land. She is a nurse practitioner at Kingman Pulmonary Associates. Lisa, thank you so much, and best of luck on this crazy adventure.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
And that's the show. That is Focus on Your Health. I'm TG LaFredo. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can send me an email at foyhradio@gmail.com. That's Focus on Your Health. foyhradio@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember your helmet. Which doctors? Not a witch doctor, of course. What? Which of the doctors?